What's going on, Jab Jab Talk Nation, my fellow boxing fans, coming to you with a video because I have some thoughts regarding this Crawford Canelo fight. It's been interesting. I've been going on YouTube, watching a lot of what other podcasters and YouTubers are talking about, all the commentary centered around this event. And I gotta say that this event between Canelo and Crawford will be bigger than what people expected. Let me break it down for you. Remember like a year ago when there was rumblings about this potential fight, Canelo shot it down, and Crawford was obviously pressing for this fight. So this is what Turkey Al-Asi, His Excellency, he was trying to push this fight. Canelo, they were at a Cold War, they weren't talking to each other, and then next thing you know it, Turkey gave him a nice deal. Canelo agreed to it, signed him to a 4-fight deal, and everything just kind of started unfolding. And then the game plan was, you're going to have a warm-up fight, and then September, you're going to fight Crawford. It's happening, right? So September 13th, I believe, is the new date. And, in the beginning, everybody was saying, hey, listen, Canelo's too big. Forget about it. It was unanimous for the most part. There was a few out there that were saying that Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo. And then, of course, there was the weight talk and, going up to a couple of divisions and 3 weight classes. And, so there was a lot of talk about Canelo, this easy fight for Canelo, right? And even Canelo came out there with some confidence saying this is easy money, easy fight. And now all the talk is this is a potentially 50-50 fight. How this fight could be a Crawford win. This could be the first time the only fighter going up in 3 weight divisions to be undisputed, I believe, in 2 or 3 weight divisions, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this would be a very historical, monumental moment for boxing history. I mean, this is huge for Crawford and the boxing community. So if he pulls this off, history will be made. So there's a lot of excitement going on because people have been seeing and criticizing Canelo his last fight. Granted, I know William Skull did not come to fight, but there was some moments there, which is watching Canelo, even me being I'm a fan of Canelo. I have a lot of respect for him, and I love what his resume, what he's done for the sport of boxing. But even as I was watching him and even watching the replay, there's potential decline. I've never said that before, but I could see how Canelo is slowing down. I felt like even with all the moving around, Canelo, even though he's not a very light on his feet, he was able to cut the ring a little bit better. And I would have loved to see him use the jab to even cut and put a little bit more pressure on Skull, just to show a little bit of effort. Who knows? I mean, there's factors of like, it was early and there was a lot of things, right? That people said that it was just an unconventional night of boxing, right? For everybody. But, needless to say, Canelo still could have done a better job. That's not the Canelo that we're used to seeing. Even with runners, he's pretty good at cutting it off. And the fact that he hasn't leveraged, and I haven't seen him use the jab as much as I would like. When he uses the jab, he was deadly, especially with landing the combinations. But he stopped using it. Like there's a little bit of a lack of bite in Canelo's step. Very much like what we saw with Pacquiao, where we were so used to him finishing strong and really dominating his fights towards the end, where he was very much happy with just fighting a 12-round fight. And that's it. And granted, that's boxing, right? Get it. There's mileage on the body. And, boxers slow down with age. We all know that. But that's what makes this fight interesting. And for the first time ever, like I used to say, hey, Canelo has this fight. And I do give a little bit of slight advantage to Canelo for the factors that I've talked about, just the weight, the power. However, this fight is becoming one of the most talked about fights simply because we saw Canelo's performance and we see Crawford coming into this fresher, hungrier, and he's ready. I think he's ready to prove to the world that he is the man and he can beat Canelo Alvarez. And we saw whenever they did their face-off, I mean, he's a little bit bigger than Canelo. Sure, Canelo with the power and more broader shoulders, heavier. But, Crawford it's going to be interesting to see what Crawford could do going up weight. And I think he's going to carry the weight well. I think there's going to be some challenges for sure. But I think Crawford said this on one of the interviews. He said, I don't have to knock him out. I just have to beat him. And just watching how Crawford, when he fought Victor Postol and knowing what Crawford could do athletically, it's got me thinking, y'all, that this could potentially be a major upset. This could be a fight that we can finally see history being made, something very monumental in boxing, where we see, the smaller guy going up against, the heavier guy. And the smaller, Crawford could carry the weight. He could get pretty big. And he's right up there with Canelo. And I think this is going to be a fight that's going to require not only skill set, but whoever is hungrier, whoever is sharper and can really impose their style onto the other. I think that's who's going to win this fight. So if Canelo thinks that he could just wait and just punch whenever he wants to and see if he can hurt the guy, and I think Canelo could lose this fight. And I think Crawford, he uses his athleticism. He's light on his feet. He doesn't have to hurt him, but he has to earn Canelo's respect early on and just use his boxing abilities. I think we could see him very much like what Amir Khan did early on, how Lara did, and how even there was moments where, Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders, when they were using their boxing abilities to tag him and move, it's just they couldn't handle the pressure. But I believe Crawford is a different breed. I think Crawford could actually figure out how to divert from Canelo's pressure, because let's face it, Canelo doesn't pressure like he has done in the past with Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders. I feel like that's not the Canelo we're used to seeing anymore. He used to do a better job of cutting it off. So this is going to be an interesting fight. This is going to be an interesting fight. I think we're going to continue having a lot more discussions about it. And I think the closer we get, the more we'll see people saying, hey, Crawford really has a shot. I think this could be a very 50-50 fight. And the more I watch Canelo and his past fights and Crawford watching him, I'm like, man, this fight is a fight that I never thought would be interesting. It was kind of like a super fight fantasy fight. Now it's like a real competitive fight. We're going to see the best out of Canelo. We're going to see the best out of Crawford. I think both of each other are going to bring the best out of each other. And we're going to see who really is the pound per pound best fighter in the world. I'm excited. I don't know about you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. But I'm sure I'll be talking about this a lot more. But yeah, it's going to be great. September 13th. Get ready. Peace.